Edit, I called and changed my number. I can't believe I even did it. I feel high on life right now, for real. I deleted all my social media too, and I am going to make new accounts tomorrow, but tonight I'm going out for drinks to celebrate. Thank you all for the words of wisdom. Also, I am moving closer to my business. I am done with this situation. I got roped into spending time with family this week for vacation. It went downhill on day one when their kids ruined some of my stuff. So I got a hotel room and agreed to meet them in different places. I just need my own space. Well, things have been tense, and they asked to meet this morning to talk about the issues. Let me explain from the beginning. I also broke up with my ex-boyfriend of 6 years several months ago, for which they are still giving me a lot of grief, despite the fact that he was hurtful. My sister-in-law is the worst, and she keeps saying I am stuck in life and I am not moving forward, but rather living selfishly. She also implies that I am single because I am autistic and has said I need to decide if I am disabled or if I am like everyone else. I don't really understand this mindset. I have an apartment, I have several jobs, I take care of myself. I just don't have a man, and I don't want one. Lastly, she has a huge issue with me having a part-time job where I am a DM for money, and the fact that I collect nicer Lego sets and other things she sees as childish. But I don't see why it matters if I take care of myself and my home. Plus, my brother, her husband, collects Pokemon cards, and she has nothing to say about that. All of my sisters and mothers are very bothered by me being single and 30, but I don't want their lives. We live in a very traditional area, and they all follow a traditional religion. They serve their husbands. Their husbands cannot clean, cook, change a diaper, or hold a baby. They are all the type of men who will eat in the living room and leave their dirty dishes on the coffee table, or leave their clothes next to the laundry basket. My sister-in-law's husband, my brother, and all my sister's husbands will literally not lift a finger at home. They won't even make their own plates or open their own beers. They are waited on like kings. Most of my sisters and my sister-in-law work, and none of their husbands have labor jobs. But the second they enter the house, they say, "I worked, I can't do anything." Then their wives, who also worked, do everything. My sister told me the other day that she hasn't read a book or watched a TV show in years because she doesn't have time with their 5 kids and him refusing to help. That sounds like hell to me. I've spent many nights on the phone with one of them sobbing that they are so overworked and they are starting to resent or even hate their husbands. Well, this morning when we met to talk, they started telling me that I need to grow up. I need to start dating again. I need to be more involved with them, that it is embarrassing that they are all married with kids and I am single, that I wasn't sweet enough to my ex, who was hurtful, that I will never have kids unless I rush, that I live my life in a bad way. I pointed out that they call me all the time crying and upset because their husbands are useless, and that they fight with their husbands all the time and end up with them or their husband storming out at least once a week. Then I said that I do not want to live a life full of fighting and serving. I don't want to raise a child. I sure as hell am not going to raise a man. That my version of hell would be not being able to relax after working as much as I do, because I would have a husband at home that I am raising like a child. This didn't go well at all. I'm not even sure what was said because everyone was so upset and yelling rapidly. I know my sister-in-law said I have no right to judge families when I am not in one, and I can understand that, but I still think I had to stand up for myself. I got overwhelmed with everyone yelling, so I walked out, and after that I received a bunch of texts saying, "Go home. We don't want you here." And my sister-in-law said, "I don't want you around my kids." Then I got blocked by basically everyone, except one sister who said, "Just go home, I will talk to them, but you need to grow up." Maybe it's the adrenaline, but I feel sick and shaking, and I feel like I am going to be ill. I feel extremely guilty. Did I cross a line? Am I totally wrong? Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Wow, this sounds like a story from the 1950s. Some people still live there, I guess. You are not wrong, though. Their lives do sound miserable, and for them to want you to join them doesn't make sense. Who would wish that for anyone else? So you do you, fight that emancipation fight, and welcome them to the 21st century. Embrace them blocking you, go home and relax from this horrible vacation. Comment 2. They want you to be like them and share their pain. If you get a guy who is very supportive and treats you like his equal, I bet that will also make them lose their minds. Be low contact with them if possible. Now for the update. Thanks for sticking around for another update. So after that blowout with my family, I thought things would cool down, but nope, it got worse. My one sister, who didn't block me, let's call her the mediator, tried to smooth things over. She invited me to a family dinner, saying it was a chance to make amends. I should have known better, but I went. The dinner was a disaster. My brother's wife, the one who's been on my case, announced she's pregnant again. Everyone was overjoyed. Except me, I guess. I just couldn't fake a smile. Then she turned to me and said, "See, this is what real women do. They build families, not play with toys." I lost it. I told her that having kids doesn't make you a saint and that I'm happy with my life. That's when my brother jumped in, saying I was just jealous and bitter. I left the dinner early, feeling like a doormat. A few days later, I found out that my ex had been spreading rumors about me, saying I was the hurtful one. That hit hard. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was done with his lies. People I didn't even know were looking at me funny, whispering. It felt like my reputation was being dragged through the mud for no reason. Then the mediator sister called me, crying. She confessed that her husband had been having an affair. She was devastated and didn't know what to do. She has kids and a life with this man, but now it's all falling apart. I felt for her, I really did, but part of me also thought, is this the perfect life you all wanted me to have? I tried to help her, but it was like the blind leading the blind. I'm no expert on relationships, clearly. She decided to stay with him, for the kids, she said. I don't get it, but it's her life. Just when I thought things couldn't get any more messed up, my landlord called. He's selling the building and I have to move out. Great, right? I've been scrambling to find a new place, but it's tough with my budget and the time crunch. And to top it all off, my job as a DM is on the rocks. The group I was running games for got into a huge fight, and now they're not talking to each other. There goes that income. So here I am, feeling like life's punching bag. I'm trying to find a new apartment, dealing with family drama, and losing work. It's like everything's falling apart at once. But you know what? I'm still standing. I'm still here. And I'm not giving up. I'll figure this out one step at a time. Thanks for reading. My neighbor tried to force access through my new beachfront property. So I caught her vandalizing my fence and plastered her face all over the community board for everyone to see the true neighborhood menace. I, 26-year-old female, recently bought a house with my husband. Our house is a beachfront house with an amazing yard. The backyard is designed to basically look like a hidden oasis. It has a pool, hot tub, water fountains on the side, and a small slide all surrounded by trees and other plants. The trees give us privacy from both houses next to us, but still gives us the view of the beach. The backyard is why we bought the home, and we already spend the majority of our time being back there. Even when my husband works, the entire backside of the house is mostly glass, so it's also what we see when we are in the house. It is definitely the focal point of our home. Yesterday, we started the construction on a new fence. This fence goes around the backyard with a gate only to the beach, so you either have to go through the house to go through the beach to get to our backyard. We didn't think anything of it before I got a knock on my door this morning from someone who lives in the condos across the street from us. I have seen her a few times, but we never really talked. She introduced herself and then asked about what we were building in our yard. I just told her that we wanted to put up a fence before tourists start coming. This was recommended to us by our realtor. Marie kinda looked shocked and asked if we were putting a gate on the front or anything. I said no, and that we already had a landscaper come and look to get more plants put around it. She then asked me if I could put a gate on the front. I didn't really understand this, so I asked her to clarify when she explained that the previous owners would let people from the condo walk through their yard to get to the beach, because otherwise they have to walk 5 minutes down the street to get onto the beach where there are a lot of tourists. Our street leads to private beach, so there isn't as many people. She said that mostly everyone in the condo started doing this over the past few years, especially people with kids, or even just letting their kids go to the beach alone. She also said that they would let people use their pool if they texted as asked. I immediately told her that no one would be in my yard unless I knew them. She obviously got upset by this and then said that basically everyone in the condos would be upset by this. I told her that I understand why they want to use my yard and that it's just to pass through. But I hate the idea of random people walking through my backyard. She started getting mad at me for it and saying that I am ruining a lot of people's way of life by blocking off this path. She claimed that a lot of people let their kids during the summer go to the beach through this way, and a lot of kids can't walk to the popular spots. The beach is kind of quiet where we are. I did get annoyed and told her that I don't really care and that I will not let people into my yard. She tried to bring up the pool, but I just told her that I wasn't going to talk about it anymore. This was yesterday afternoon, and I've already seen people standing outside the condos and pointing to my house. I even had someone run over to talk to me and ask if I was really gating off the beach path. I've talked to both my neighbors who agree with me, but my friend and sister are both saying I'm in the wrong. So am I the idiot? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. OMG, no. Install a locked gate. Send a lawyer letter to the condo board of directors stating under no circumstances is your private property to be used as an access point in any circumstances. It's for everyone's safety and insurance. They will be trespassed. I would not want anyone to sue. What if someone is hurt on your property or drowned in your hot tub? What if a child was lost, someone attacked? The scenarios are alarming. Protect yourself, and a 5-minute walk is not the end of the world. It's not your responsibility to ensure access for the public. Confirm that this is your personal legal access. It's irresponsible. What would your insurance company say? Comment 2. Not the idiot, it's private property. The same people complaining are the same ones who would sue you if they tripped on something while trespassing. A pool is an even bigger liability. I find it hard to believe the former owners really let strangers use it unattended. If they really did, they're foolish. It's equally hard to believe that walking a few more minutes will ruin anyone's way of life. Most likely, people will realize this once the drama queen has her moment on the stage. Now, for the update. Thanks for coming back to hear more about the drama next door. After the fence went up, things got worse. Marie, the lady from the condos, started a petition. She was knocking on doors, gathering signatures to force us to open up our yard again. It was like she thought she could bully us into giving up our privacy. My husband and I were fuming. We had bought this house for its seclusion, not to run a public walkway. One morning, I caught a kid from the condos trying to climb over the new fence. I marched him back to his parents, who had the nerve to tell me I was being unreasonable. They said their son was just used to the old way. I told them that's not my problem. My backyard isn't a shortcut. Then, the real news dropped. Turns out the previous owners had made a verbal agreement with the condo residents about using the yard. No wonder Marie was so bold. But verbal doesn't mean binding, and we had no intention of honoring that. The tension escalated when someone vandalized our fence. Spray-painted words like selfish and greedy covered the beautiful wood. It was a low blow. We filed a police report, but without cameras, there wasn't much to go on. We decided to install security cameras. The footage from the first week was eye-opening. We caught neighbors sneaking up to the fence, trying to peer over, and even one guy who threw trash over it. But the real kicker was catching Marie in the act of vandalism. She was the one who had spray-painted our fence. Armed with evidence, we confronted her. She denied it at first, but the footage was clear as day. We told her we'd press charges unless she paid for the damages and stopped the petition. She agreed, reluctantly. But Marie wasn't done. He wasn't. She started spreading rumors about us, saying we were the ones who were hostile first. It was like high school all over again. We heard whispers at the local store, people giving us the side eye. It was exhausting. One day, I had enough. I printed out stills from the security footage and posted them on the community board by the condos. If Marie wanted to play dirty, I could too. The backlash against her was immediate. People were shocked to see her true colors. The final straw came when Marie's husband came over to apologize. He said he didn't know what she was doing, that she had been stressed about other things and took it out on us. He offered to pay for the fence repairs himself. After that, things quieted down. The petition disappeared and the look stopped. We finally had peace. Our backyard was our sanctuary once again, and no one dared to cross us after that. Thanks for sticking with me through this mess. My husband's ex-wife secretly got pregnant to trap him, and when I found out, I kept it quiet. But he learns the truth and feels betrayed. So I set up a therapy session where she apologizes, and I teach her a lesson about honesty with a court order for child support that leaves her bankrupt. I, 27-year-old female, married my now husband, 32-year-old male, last year. This is the second marriage for both of us, and we are annoyingly happy together and have a blended family with 3 amazing kids. I and my biological kids temporarily moved into my husband's house that he had bought with his ex-wife. He won it in the divorce as she had no interest in it, until we can find a bigger house to buy together. My husband is neurodivergent and just doesn't see certain things and has difficulty with deep cleaning. No problem, I love organizing and cleaning, so I got this. However, while cleaning out closets and the garage, I discovered that his ex left many of her personal belongings behind when she moved out 1 year before I met my husband. I am not the other woman. This included old family pictures, papers, family mementos, heirlooms, etc. At first, we would send these things with her when she picked up my stepdaughter for her custody weekends. But she finally told us she wasn't interested in receiving any more of her old things and asked that we just donate or throw out anything else no matter what. Okay, fine. After this, I found a box full of old college books and notebooks stashed in a crawl space. Yeah, I was feeling nosy and resentful for having to continue to clean up her mess, so I flipped through one of the notebooks I found. Inside was a journal entry dated 7 months before the birth of my stepdaughter, detailing that she got pregnant when she purposefully went off her birth control without telling my husband because their relationship was going down the drain, and she loved him and didn't want to lose him. So, in conclusion, I have kept this knowledge from him so far because I don't want to cause him pain because I decided to be nosy. However, I am also on the fence because this feels huge. She was very emotionally hurtful towards him and constantly cheated on him during their entire marriage, but would use him getting her pregnant as the reason why she was with him, and he needed to support her and take her back no matter what. My brain is so muddled right now. So Reddit, would I be the idiot for telling him about what I discovered? P.S. In case anyone is wondering, my stepdaughter is an adorable carbon copy of her dad in feminine form. It's uncanny, actually, so there isn't any doubt about paternity here. Edit for more clarity since people are mean. My only motive for telling him would be trying to alleviate some of his guilt around him being told by his ex that he was at fault for the pregnancy, which his ex used as an excuse to manipulate him. I have a lot of folks commenting on here about my stepdaughter somehow finding out if I told him, and what damage that would do, but I can say with complete confidence that neither of us would ever tell her. She is absolutely innocent in all this, and telling her would accomplish nothing but harm. I have no interest in hurting or harming anyone else involved here, not even his hurtful ex. We are not in competition. This knowledge isn't something I am trying to weaponize against her because I am insecure. I am not. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Truly amazing that most Redditors will unequivocally go scorched earth on liars and cheaters, but believe OP should destroy this diary. The ex made a unilateral decision to go off birth control and deliberately got pregnant. At a minimum, the husband deserves to know this. A lie by omission is still a lie. Will the information hurt her husband? Probably. When and how to share the information is important. OP is not obligated to cover for the ex, but should be protective of her husband. Not the jerk, but plan this carefully. Don't blurt it out in anger. Also, the child doesn't need to know. Comment 2. You should show him the journal. Otherwise, you will be keeping a very big secret from him that concerns him. A lie of omission is still a lie. Trust is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship. If he finds out another way, he would be even more hurt that you kept it from him. If his first marriage ended because of dishonesty, then it would be even more devastating for him to know you kept something so big from him. Tell him the truth and be there for him. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around. A lot has happened since I last wrote, so remember how I found that journal entry from my husband's ex? Well, I decided to keep it to myself, thinking it was for the best. But things have a way of coming out, don't they? I was doing laundry and left the notebook on the bed, and my husband found it. He read it, and all hell broke loose. He was devastated, not just by the revelation, but by the fact that I kept it from him. He felt betrayed by both of us. I tried to explain, but he was too hurt. He needed space, so he went to stay with a friend. I was left alone, feeling guilty and trying to manage the kids who didn't understand why their dad was suddenly gone. But that's not even the half of it. His ex found out that he knew about the journal. She accused me of trying to ruin her life, saying that I should have destroyed it. She threatened legal action, claiming I invaded her privacy. It was a mess. Lawyers got involved, and it looked like we might be heading to court. In the midst of all this, my stepdaughter overheard a conversation between her mom and me. She learned about the journal and the pregnancy secret. She was confused and angry, feeling like her whole life was a lie. She started acting out, her grades dropped, and she refused to talk to either of us. My husband and I tried to patch things up. We went to counseling, trying to rebuild trust. It was hard, especially with his ex stirring the pot, but we were making progress. Then, out of nowhere, his ex dropped the lawsuit. She said she was tired of fighting and wanted to focus on being a better mother. Things started to settle down. My husband moved back in, and we were working on our relationship. We were careful around the kids, trying to give them stability. My stepdaughter was seeing a therapist, and it seemed to help. But then the biggest shock came. My husband's ex had a change of heart. She apologized to us, especially to my husband, for everything she had put him through. She said she was seeking therapy and wanted to make amends. She even started to be more cooperative with the custody arrangements. It was like a soap opera, with all these twists and turns. But through it all, I learned a hard lesson about honesty and the chaos that secrets can cause. I regretted my actions deeply, and I was just grateful that my husband and I were finding our way back to each other. Thanks for reading. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.